let's look at nutrition. Okay. Now, what I'm not going to do right now is I'm not going to sit here and say, this is the right nutrition plan that you should be following. Okay. I'm not going to do that. Okay. There are a ton of different nutrition plans out there that you can follow. Okay. But what I want to do is make sure that you have clarity on when you're choosing the right style of program. Okay. If you want to know what program I think you should follow, then let's, hit me up. Let's talk. Let's do a full assessment. Let's figure out where your starting point is. Let's figure out what kind of food allergies you have. Let's figure out your likes and your dislikes. Let's figure out what actually is going to work. Let's figure out how quickly you want to get there. Let's do this whole assessment. And then I can tell you exactly what I think you should be following. Okay. That's how in depth it is. Okay. I have a 95 point assessment in order to determine what kind of plan you need to be following. Okay. So for me to sit here, not hear any feedback, not really know you, and for me to tell you what plan you should be following, that's outrageous. Okay. That's irresponsible of me as a coach. Okay. But here are some things that you can put down and some things that you can do that will give you clarity on what kind of nutrition plan you should be following. So number one, know what style of eating you're going to be following. Okay. If you can go all the way back to, I did a seminar previously, and it was the 4 different ways to create a meal plan. Okay. And I went through the 4 different categories. Category 1, you can create a calorie-based meal plan. That's when you're just trying to follow a certain number of calories. Okay. Number 2, you can follow a macro-based meal plan. And this is when you're eating a certain amount of grams, carbs, fats, and proteins every single day. Okay. Then the third type of eating is what I call the food type plan, right? This is when you're eating certain types of food, right? You're doing, you're a vegan, you're a vegetarian. Maybe you're following the Mediterranean diet. Maybe you're following, which is really hot right now. And a lot of the dietitians say this is what you should follow, right? Maybe you're following the a keto style diet, right? That's also a food type diet, right? So maybe you're doing something along that nature. Okay. So that's a food type diet. Okay. Or there is what's called the total comprehensive type of plan that you can follow. And that's when you look at your habits. That's when you look at the foods you like, the foods that you don't like, the foods that your body responds to. It has some calories, macros, and types of foods all incorporated into that. And probably the most important thing is that it has a strategy that says, okay, we're going to focus on this first. Then we're going to maybe we focus on calories first. Then we focus on macro second. And then we focus on food types third or whatever, right? But there's a strategy behind why you're doing what you're doing. Now, obviously, the fourth way of creating a diet, that's the most comprehensive, that's the most customized, that's the most everything. But you got to make sure you have somebody who really knows how to put something like that together. Most people, they just know one way. They just know macros, or they just know calories, or they just know a food type, and that's it. They only know those things. Okay. Which is not a bad place to start, but it's very limited when you only know one way of doing stuff. A good coach like ourselves here at IFM Coaching, we know a gazillion different ways to do it. So number one, you got to know, when it comes to your nutrition plan, you got to know what style of diet you're eating. Okay. Number 2, the second question you got to ask yourself is this diet actually, or this way of eating, is this actually sustainable? Can I actually sustain this for the entire year? Can I actually grow into it? Okay. Is this something I can see myself following for the rest of my life? Okay. Or at least for the foreseeable future. Okay. If the answer is no, do not do it. Okay. And in fact, I wouldn't even encourage you. If you think that you need to go all in on a diet and you need to be 100%, I would tell you, and that's the only way you're going to get results, don't follow it. Okay. Don't follow it. The best thing to do is to ease on into a plan. So if you look at a plan, you're like, wow, this is super extreme. Okay. All right, cool. Let's just sit there. Look, this plan is super extreme. Okay. This is where I am right now. I'm here. This is my starting point when it comes to assessing it according to the way the diet says I should be following it. Okay. So this is my starting point. This is what the diet says I should be doing. What are some small little baby steps that I can take that will allow me to eventually get to this extreme point? Okay. And then you can ease on into it. Okay. Most people don't want to do that. Most people, they want to start following this right now, and then they want to ease on into it afterwards, right? Oh, I just want to follow it hard for 30 days, and then I'll start thinking about the habits. But by that time, they're so discouraged because they can't keep it up that they never get to the point of easing on into it. Okay. All right. So that's nutrition plan.